So, Sarah and Emily Kate, the screen is yours, the time is yours.
Okay, I can't believe it's been a month. So when we presented on it last, I think we'd heard about it like 3 days before the Midday Connect. We had just been introduced to it, to our challenge. So we started by looking at all of the different products or the different markets that we could try to meet a need for. So we had looked at medical entrance exams. We looked at the ACS exam that the product was basically originally created for, which was a general chemistry class at the university. Yes.
Sarah, I was just wondering if you could give everybody, some people may not have been here, could you give
What Madra is?
everybody a 1 minute or an
Yes.
elevator pitch of what you're doing?
Sure. So SVS has a product that they launched commercially that was created at the U by the chemistry department based on research that they had done about students in the general chemistry class, which I thought of when I took that as an undergrad. I considered that a weeder class. It's a really hard class. It has a very high failure rate, like 25+% for almost all universities. And they're usually really good students. They're all pre-med or pre-engineering students, but students who do fail that class have a 65% chance of dropping out of school completely. So they're losing a lot of really good students. So it's a big problem. And a lot of schools have different approaches to how they try to improve the grades, the pass rates, the understanding of these general chemistry classes, because they're very fundamental. It's fundamental knowledge that students need for many other classes. It's a prerequisite for a whole bunch of other classes in a lot of fields. So the research at the U found that the biggest problem is this transition to college, right? It's that students used to think they knew what they were doing, and now they really don't. And students didn't know how to prioritize what they needed to learn. We're very good at deluding ourselves into thinking we know more than we do. So we'll get a bad grade on a test and we'll be like, oh, that was just a really badly written test. The professor didn't do something. And that we're really good at deluding ourselves. So they created a product, this called Madra, where for every test or homework assignment or quiz that students took, first they would ask them, how well do you think you're going to do? And they would take the test and they would ask them, how well do you think you did? Then they would give them their result. Usually they thought they were going to do amazing. After the test, they're like, I still did pretty well. And then they got the results and it was pretty bad. Like the average grades on these tests in this type of class are around 55%. Students tend to do pretty badly in them. It's hard material to learn. And students aren't persuaded that they really need to study. So they implemented a number of changes and really increased their scores on the test. And what they attributed most of it to was the metacognitive feedback, that especially in your bottom quartile of the class, they raised their score like by 20 percentile points nationally. Like they went from, like the 20th percentile to the 40th percentile or something like that. On average, they went from the 60th percentile to the 70th percentile or something like that nationally. It was a really significant increase, which makes this seem very useful. A weakness of it is that it really just allows multiple choice questions or fill in the blank questions, which are kind of a problem for math and science, where teachers want to see problems worked out step by step. So that's what the product is. We're wanting to launch a B2C version of it. So something that students can buy and use regardless of what program they're in. And we did decide to stick with the ACS exams. The content fits that better than it does some of the other tests that we could have prepared for. And also over the summer, there are students in this type of chemistry class taking it over the summer, whereas we wrote off the MCAT for other reasons, and the AP chemistry class students aren't preparing for an AP chemistry exam over the summer. They may be preparing to start an AP chemistry class. So we narrowed it down to the ACS classes. A general chemistry class is what it is for pre-med and pre-engineering students. And we wanted to try to test it in our local universities. We identified that there were 5 schools in Utah that have this type of accredited chemistry program. Does someone have a question? No, okay. Yeah, so we got a lot of feedback last time about the benefit of surveying students in advance, surveying our customers in advance to find out what they wanted, what they needed, where they were looking for things. And we started drafting out those questions, and we thought a lot more about this product and looked also at our time frame, these rather condensed summer classes, and thought, we need to kind of do this together. We need to get a product launched fast. We only have 10 weeks to get students to use it in their class. So we haven't done any surveys. We have been drafting surveys, and they've been a useful tool for thinking about our customer, but we've been focusing on getting our product launched. So we've created a website. We've created flyers that we want to take to the local schools that we want to test our product on. Our goal is 100 customers, right? So we're not trying to target the whole market right now. Like we're pretty sure from people we've talked to that students mostly go to YouTube, but to get chemistry help. But to advertise on YouTube or to form partnerships with YouTube influencers is a bigger task. Anyway, so we're not focusing on YouTube at the moment, although that's where we would want to focus to take it further, if depending on the feedback that we get from just trying to get some users up front. So we have created some quizzes in our product. One, in order to get the metacognitive benefits of this product, students need to take multiple times. They need to take multiple versions of it. So we've needed to create at least 2 quizzes for each topic that students would be wanting feedback on. So we've created quizzes for the first 2 topics, and we're pretty much ready to launch it this week. We have somebody who's going up to Utah State who can post some flyers for us. We've been attempting to contact professors. That was one of our hopes, was that we could sponsor classes and offer our product for free and be able to survey students in classes and be able to have the professor share it. You know, a lot of the classes are online, so we'd hope the professor would post a link to our product on his Canvas page and encourage students to give it a try. Been really striking out at contacting professors, or when I talk to a professor, I've been getting shut down really hard. So that's been a little discouraging. So that had been our initial attempt, our initial idea of how to get our product in front of students to get feedback on it. And we're still going to try at universities. We're going to post things in the tutoring centers and in the advising centers. So we've got flyers to post there. I'm still trying to get conversations going with professors, but we're also going to, there are chemistry forums where we can post links to our product. So people go to, there's a chemistry forums place where you can get help with chemistry problems, and it gets a decent amount of traffic. So we thought we could respond to people's questions with, hey, you should try this product, and this can be a resource for you. So that is the main plan right now. Emily, Kate, do you want to add anything to what we've, I guess social media. Do you want to address that?
Yeah, I can talk about a little bit. So moving forward, since we're checking out a little bit on contacting professors directly and working directly with schools, we're still going to try that route, obviously, but we're kind of leaning towards going the social media route. So starting Instagram account, starting Facebook, maybe doing the TikTok thing, and then YouTube. So that's kind of the route that we're headed down, creating content for that. I guess kind of an ask to this group is, do you guys have any suggestions or feedback on going the social media route? Is there anything you would or wouldn't do when trying that out?
Our idea for getting started was to find some products that were a little similar to ours, like Magoosh is a resource for entrance exams. They have a pretty great platform and program. So we were going to check out theirs for some inspiration about how we might do it. We also thought that our students, if we get students to sign up, they're still probably going to need a fair bit of motivation to continue to use the product. So we had thought when they sign up, we have their email address, so we could send them a weekly email that says, we think you've been studying this topic. How's this topic? How's this part of your class going? How well do you think you understand it? You could use this quiz to find out how well you really do understand it and what you need to focus on, or find out how you're doing. Emphasizing that our quizzes are very standardized to the national expectations for what they understand about that topic. So that it's a reliable resource, part of our advertising. But I got a lot of feedback. Our students are mostly 18, 19 years old. Most students take it as a freshman, maybe a sophomore. So email isn't the best way to reach them. So if we were going to post anything on email, if we were going to send anything by email, we should probably really post it on social media like Instagram,
TikTok.
or TikTok. But TikTok, you got to create videos. So that's been kind of a barrier making, yeah, we're getting that from Brittany too. TikTok being a better platform than Facebook. So that leads into the YouTube, because YouTube and TikTok involve videos, right? Whether we could make, you know, our own little videos to talk about it, which we think would be a useful thing. We had pushed it down the road a little bit because it was a higher investment in creating videos. Tips for creating videos easily? Do I just do like a PowerPoint presentation and I talk over and try to make it as non-PowerPointy as possible?
I think.
Go ahead.
So you're good. I was actually pretty funny because me, Nancy, and Spencer all. So I'll just say, you'd be surprised how good the like the thing that's hot right now is the walking videos, like where somebody's like holding it up and walking while they're talking to you. So I almost wonder if there are there bite-sized things that happen inside the quiz that give value, that you could give value. Like that's one piece of small companies. We don't care about giving away our product because our product is exactly the way that we grow. So can you find a way to take a piece of what they get out of those? Like did you know this is the most commonly missed question on these tests? And watch to the end of this video, and I'm going to give you the A, B, and C, and we're going to see whether or not you would have missed it on the exam. Like if I'm a student, I'm like, oh, this is the most, I'm watching this. Like, and if you want to know more things like that, check out Madra.com, right? You know, where we give you, you know, that sort of detail around kind of what's there. Just some way to give them a taste of the value in every single video that you give out.
And that was going to be my point a little bit, is like nail down the value proposition, because that was the one thing that I didn't really hear. And if you can nail that and then just kind of repeat it, like Will was saying, in these different things, what's in it for you? What's in it for you? What's the value proposition? You know, yeah, scoring better on your test, but kind of just like nail it and then just make sure that that's embedded in everything that you do. And I love Will's ideas too. But that was the one thing that I found was there wasn't a strong value proposition.
That concerns me about the product, actually, because I feel like the value proposition is that it tells you what you know or don't know about what you should know. So, which means that you have to take a lot of tests to get that value. There isn't much value in taking one quiz. So we had originally thought of, oh, we'll offer a quiz for free as a promotion. I'm like, oh, that's actually would be a terrible idea, because they're going to take that one quiz and think, I didn't get anything out of that. Or they get a little bit of feedback. The benefit comes from taking lots of quizzes. So we're trying to convince people to take like 12 hours of tests to really see the benefit of it. And it benefited your lower performing students more than your high performing students. And I feel like the high performing students are more likely to go looking for it initially. We thought we were targeting our students at the top, at the ends of the bell curve. We talked about this last time too, that your high performing students will go looking for it earlier, but they're not actually going to get much. If I were a high performing student, I wouldn't buy this. I would get one of the other products that does have step-by-step answers and explains things that's actually designed for learning chemistry. I was talking to Parker about this earlier. This product isn't actually super useful for learning chemistry. It's useful for telling you what you know and don't know, how prepared you are for the final exam.
It sounds like a practice test.
Yeah, it's a lot of practice tests. And some practice, so other places that offer practice tests, usually they offer solutions. They say, and with your subscription, you get detailed videos explaining how to do each problem on it. The two other places that have practice tests like that do that. And we don't have that content with ours. We just have practice tests with feedback about what you know and don't know.
So I would maybe suggest, well, Spencer Arnston,
Yeah, go.
you've had your
Yeah,
hand up and it looks tired.
I just thought you have some viral content potential, right? Where just this kind of thread of like we actually don't know what we don't know, like kind of. And then if you could film or video kids coming out of a testing center and being like, oh yeah, I think I got this, and then be like, like this kind of thing where it's showing like how off we are sometimes, and it's expensive, right? We spend a lot of money in taking these classes, or if you're going to go into, you need chemistry as part of your organic whatever to go into the medical school or something. So for some of these people that are motivated, like it might grab their attention, but that kind of content is interesting, right? We don't know, sometimes
Kind of the mindfulness trend.
Yeah, I just think sometimes we think we're better than we are, and just seeing like, I think I probably scored like this, and then like afterwards it's like, nope, they scored this. A thread of that, and then be like, oh man. But just as far as
that was the difference between a high performing and a low performing students. High performing students generally slightly underestimated or accurately estimated what they knew. They knew going into it they were going to get an 85 or a 90%. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. All right, there's questions in the chat.
More suggestions, it looks like.
Yeah, suggestions, which thank you. We need them.
One question I had that I put in there, Sarah, was how are other products that are similar being sold or marketed? So yes, this isn't a place to learn the content necessarily. One, could you partner with somebody who is teaching the content and be their testing platform? But then also, I mean, I've paid for a lot of prep courses for standardized tests.
Mm-hmm.
So how are those being marketed? And is it a fear tactic? Is it a, hey, come and check this out and you'll get a better score? Is it like, how are the SAT or ACT prep courses being sold?
Like a GMAT prep course. Like if you're, I know there's paid GMAT prep courses that you can take.
Yeah, I think Magoosh, we mentioned, is one of the better prep course ones. And yeah, it's all about you can do better. That's how they're marketing it, and it's a subscription. They offer the whole package though, right? They offer we'll explain these concepts to you. You can study in a group, you can study in this game, so they offer a lot of ways to study in addition to practice tests that you take periodically.
Some of them. I think I bought a lot of LSAT and GMAT test prep books that were just tests. And so like, how are those being sold? Because not all test prep products are immersive in learning. They're actually just practice tests. So how are practice tests for the LSAT being sold?
Or it could be something kind of like uncover your blind spots, like a kind of a positive twist like that. Like, what you don't know, come do this and keep doing it. And the more you do it, the better your test results are going to be. And it allows them to, instead of studying everything, kind of focus, make more use of their time focusing on those things where they didn't do well. And that could be a differentiator. So you're not saying you got to learn, and then take tests, but it's like, where are your blind spots? What don't you see? What, and that kind of thing. And then it's like, if you got to prep, this will help you condense your timelines, but keep doing them, and they're going to be quizzes, and you're going to just keep learning by reflection afterwards. So
we're actually marketing to students who are taking a class. They have a lot of resources. And I do remember that of feeling like, oh, well, they gave me 300 practice problems that I can do. How do I know what to focus on? Because I can't do all 300 in the time I have. So using this as a pre and a post test and advertising the 2 quizzes that we have for each topic is that how well do you know it? How much are you going to need to study on this? And then the post test, how well have you learned it?
Are there currently students using this at the University of Utah?
No, interestingly, and not since like 2016. It's been a while.
So
And that's
and-
what I've been trying to get even professors who aren't teaching this summer to respond to my
This-
emails to talk about what they use for study resources.
well,
This
so
is
the
also a new product, Will. Like this is outside of the typical Madra product. The typical Madra product is being used at universities, 3 or 4 right now, but it's not the ACS prep. It's
Okay.
the actual chemistry course.
Okay, so the actual chemistry course is being used. The reason I ask that is I wondered if you could find people who had used this and get them to do a walking video for you. Like I used this and I cannot believe what I didn't know. And like that sort of testimonial feels like it would go a long way. As far as I don't know how valuable it would be to everybody on this call, but as far as connecting with professors and getting them to give your stuff to students, I've had to do a crap ton of that over the past 6 months.
Oh, tell me
Um,
about it, please.
Yeah, I'm going to put my email in here. I'm actually another port co-owner over at SVS, so I will happily do a phone call with you guys to talk about that in more detail about how I've figured out how to crack the nut of getting a college professor to give you access to their students.
Okay. Yeah, I'll reach out to you.
I had a question, and this seems like a question more for everyone than just you, Sarah, and Emily Kate. But you mentioned Magoose Test Prep, and so I looked them up on Instagram, and they have like 8,000 plus followers, and they post a ton. Like, and it's all color coded. You know, they spend a lot of time on their posts and things. And a lot of it is like GMAT test prep and things like that. But when I click on them, each one only has like 6 likes or 4 likes or 7 likes or 9 likes, you know. And so I'm just curious, how can you decide which social media platform is like effective for others in your industry, you know? Because to me, looking at the goose there makes it seem like if we tried to do something similar with Madra, that people wouldn't
Get a hold.
like it and comment, and you know, it wouldn't hit them as hard. And I wonder, like on TikTok and other places, are there ways that you could measure that to know if you'd be kind of successful based off of others?
Kind of like an inter-student competition or like inter-student comparison. Is that what you're talking about, Parker?
Like if you're comparing your product and how or to another similar product and how it's marketed on social media, and to see like if like Magoosh has a ton of followers but they only get like 3 likes on each post they send, or 5 likes, you know, like to me that shows like, oh, maybe Instagram isn't the best way to reach them. Is that just because their content isn't as good even though it actually looks pretty good, or is it just that students don't look for stuff like this on Instagram, so that then we look for another platform or something?
I'll be honest, I thought 8,000 was pretty high, and I thought 5 to 7 likes was pretty high until you said, I'm not sure that would get very much. I was like, wait a minute, like it's not a very sexy thing, and there's 8,000 people who follow it. Like yeah, that's one of my thoughts is I don't, if you were to compare it to other things that are similar, I wonder if they're killing it. Because I mean, those color-coded images aren't free, right? All of the work that they're pouring into making some headway there.
So maybe the likes aren't, or I guess maybe the followers is something that's worth looking at, opposed to the likes, like number of likes and things too. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
maybe
seems like a lot of followers.
you should DM them and see how good they are at responding to you, and that'll give you a decent idea of like, oh, these guys have got this thing down. Like DM them and be like, hey, I'd like to sign up. How would that work? And see like if they have that all like down to a pat and they walk you through some process and there seems to be some salesperson on the other side of that, that means they're investing in this platform and it's actually probably converting for them to some degree or another.
So
But
maybe
from the
even if
outside
people
looking
aren't
in,
if people aren't liking it, that doesn't mean that they're not looking at it.
yeah.
So I pulled up chemistry videos on TikTok, and this one has 1.4 million views. 5,000 comments. This one has 1 million views, 19.7 thousand comments. So these ones are actually getting, this one has 2.3 million views, 15,000 comments. So on TikTok, it seems if you have a good video and people react to it, you're gonna get a lot of views and a lot of engagement.
I think like as you know, a student myself, like I usually go to YouTube to find things if I'm needing to study something. So maybe Instagram, like with Park Person, wasn't maybe the best way to do it, but I think I'm sure people Google a lot more, you know, on YouTube than they do Instagram and whatnot. So that might be a better way to reach that audience as well.
Do college age kids even really use Instagram anymore? I feel like it's like Facebook is like the older generation, Instagram's like the millennial generation, and then like TikTok and YouTube are more for that age group. Am I correct? Is anyone in that age group? Gen Z?
Definitely Instagram way more than TikTok.
Here, I'll take this. I'll answer this because never mind.
I'm currently a sophomore, and I'd say a large majority of people my age are still using Instagram. A lot of people use TikTok for entertainment, but as far as connecting with people and learning things, I don't know about learning things. YouTube is kind of the go-to for learning. Instagram is kind of connecting with people, and then TikTok is kind of entertainment. Just
Sarah, the best way that I've found to actually find where my audience is to just go sign up for the free ad account. Go all the way to the step where you choose the demographics, and they will actually tell you a range of how many people they estimate are available on that platform inside the geographic regions. Like they will tell you, like on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Instagram, you can be like, I choose Instagram only. I'm looking for 18 to 19-year-olds, and you know, this blah 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 blah. And it'll say, we estimate that there are 4 to 5 million people on Instagram that match your targeting parameters. So then you go do that on LinkedIn. Oh, there's only 10. Oh, you know, like you don't have to ask this group or even survey people to know the answer to that question. So like you can go in and anywhere where they actually offer an ad targeting platform, their key proposition is, we have these eyeballs. So it gives them a lot of clout to say, here's an estimated number of eyeballs you're going to get. Like Google Ads, you can go in and type in like, here's the search result I want, and they'll give you, this is going to be between 0 and 100, or 1,000 and 10,000, or 10,000 and 100,000. So obviously they won't give you exact numbers, but you can get directional data about where your audience is if you sign up for the accounts. And you don't actually have to pay anything to get to that point. You may have to throw in a credit card, but you don't actually have to hit the place button to get it.
Okay, yeah, I can do research on that. That's useful. Maxwell, you have a comment?
Yeah. A question is like, is the goal to get users using this again, or is the goal to get awareness? When you mentioned a few minutes ago that no one's currently using this, to me, it's like, why do we need to go to social media? We just need to go get kids to use this to see if it, or students, sorry, to see if they care about this tool. And so summer school is coming up. I assume kids that are in summer school have either a need to pass that class because of remediation, or are trying to pass it ahead of the upcoming semesters. They seem targeted to want to do better on their exams and things. Like, boots on the ground, screw social media, just go put a butt in a seat outside a library and tell people like some of the quote unquote best examples of having used your tool, and then see if you can, in fact, through the course of those efforts, you know, a couple hours at a library a day, a couple days throughout the summer, let's say, imagine you get 10, 15 people, their successful experience, then you have much more of the compelling content to go bring to social media at a point where you are then trying to increase your user base beyond, do people really want to use this today since it's been on shelf, or is a new version of a product that is on the shelf. So I think like, from what I'm hearing, I'm just going to suggest like, pause, take a deep breath, and be like, I need people to use this. Social media is a rabbit hole that is to the next step once I know that people want to use this.
Yeah, that was our intention. So we actually just as of this week, as of yesterday, I finally had quizzes ready. So I didn't want to go take my flyers on campus until they could actually sign up and do something. So I have quizzes as of yesterday and we have our flyers ready. So in this next week, that is our first step, is to just go post the flyers at the tutoring center and the advising center and stand outside some classrooms with some flyers.
And the other thing would be like, spend a day on campus, see what teachers are teaching summer school and go to them and be like, hey, flashcards used to be a thing. This is the new thing. Would you help me either introduce to your students and or identify students that may benefit from this? And because they're there on campus, you don't have to answer email. You just go like, quick, can I borrow 5 minutes of your time? Here's a cookie, here's an apple, here's $5
actually
at Starbucks.
So they post their office hours. So unlike most business owners that don't tell you when they're going to be in their office, they tell you when they're going to be in their office.
You are
And
so
they're
dirty, Will.
Show up at their office hours.
Well, they answer their phone when the office hours are as well. So just throw that out.
Sort of.
Well, yeah. So the other thing that I'd throw out there is if you walk up and say that the pitch is, I'm here to help your students pass chemistry, period. Like that's you opening sentence, pause. And they're like, tell me more, right? Does that make sense? Like I'm here, I am here to help more students pass chemistry and stop dropping out of college, period. And then they'll tell me more. And then at that point, you've kind of got some attention there. And if they can see that you're not a money grabbing, that's not what this is about. It's about creating a space where these students can actually succeed. They'll give you that, they'll hand the students to you. But doing it, so we'll talk more on the phone when you message me, but that's number one thing I would say is be in the right mode when you're talking to them. And Maxwell's not wrong. Walking in to their office, like no better way to, and if you're an alumni, that works well too. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I think also just Emily, Kate, and Sarah, one note, Nancy just left, but Maxwell also made this comment about value proposition. Will just touched on it. Your value proposition to the professors is going to be different than to the students. So with your flyers that you're handing out, it might be an interesting way to do an AB or an ABC test, see which flyers get like different QR code on each flyer, whatever it is, to see which value proposition resonates. Because I can think, okay, maybe it's that students want to get a better score, or maybe it's that they want to spend less time in the tutoring center and less time studying things that aren't going to be on the test, quote unquote, because that's a phrase that all students ask, right? Is this going to be on the test? Because otherwise I don't care. Oh, go ahead, Will.
So I was just going to say, is there a Durham that has more chemistry students?
Is there a what?
Like, do the chemistry students live in the same area? I'm just trying to think of, or like, is there a study center, like go sit outside the tutor center for that area and challenge yourself to literally talk to 200 students and try to convince them to take this. And if at the end of the conversation, they're like, cool, I'm in, like, awesome, let's get you signed up. Like, give me your email address, I'll send that to you. If they won't give you their email address, they're not really interested. That's going to teach you the 7 words that open the value proposition door. Like if you go like challenge yourself to talk to 200 students, and you may only convince 5 of them to actually take the tests, but over that time, you'll discover what your value proposition is by sheer force of talking to 200 students.
Yeah, well, that's about how many students are taking this class, like in the state of Utah, practically all summer. So, and a lot of them are online. But yes, so we're working with smaller numbers than that. But yes, hanging out outside the tutoring center.
But talking to any chemistry student who has to take it in the future, there's still a potential buyer, and you could still. So, are you ready to buy that? Yes. What's your email address? I'll email you when it's ready. Like, oh, great, they're going to spam me. Like if they gave you the email address, they're interested enough to be there, right? So it's not just 200 potential users here in the state of Utah. You get a lot more than that are, how many potential students are there?
Yeah,
another thought. another thought is like professors have, like you mentioned online schooling. I don't think that's a barrier, because if you get to these professors somewhere in a slide deck somewhere or an information packet, they have resources for students, which are links that they've curated from the internet. All you really need is your link to be there. And then you have a mechanism to be in front of the online students. But this is exciting. Congratulations on where you're at, and excited to hear an update in the future.
Thanks.
Maxwell. So I think we're at time for Midday Connect typically. So Emily, Kate, and Sarah, hopefully this was helpful and you've got a lot of people to connect to and kind of brainstorm on. We'll put the recording up as well shortly. And then you can also get the transcript so you can get all these notes or what everybody said. But really appreciate everybody jumping on here. And thanks so much for being a part of the Midday Connect.